Hello and welcome to Bear Atheist. Today we're checking out a video from Red Pen Logic. Does God foreknowledge determine humans' free will? Question of the week apparently. So this will be quite an interesting video. It's just a minute and 37 seconds long. This is an interesting topic, and I've never actually have any Christian apologetics. Any of them actually answer this interesting question. If God already have a foreknowledge of the future and he made literally everything, how the hell can you still argue we have free will? The actual answer is that you really can't. But let's get into the video.
If God knew that today I was going to eat Fruit Loops, does that mean that I had to eat Fruit Loops and that I wasn't free to eat, say, Cheerios? I don't think so, and here's why.
Then you're dumb. Then you're dumb. You don't have an option if God already knew you were gonna choose that. It's not like if God already know that you were gonna do exactly that. Eat Fruit Loops on your chair in your kitchen while we're taking this video in the kitchen. I generally am confused too. In your kitchen, then you do not have an option to choose to do something entirely different. There's no different timeline. It's one timeline, and God already knows what you will do. What whatever you ultimately choose to do. Like if you go ahead and decide not to eat Fruit Loop and eat Cheerios, God ultimately knows what that result will be. So you don't have a choice in the matter, it's already decided. Because he made you knowing what you would choose, making him really responsible for whatever the heck you do.
This challenge has a mistaken understanding of how God's foreknowledge works. It assumes God's foreknowledge somehow causes my actions, and that if it causes my actions, then I'm not free. But God's foreknowledge doesn't cause anything. In fact, it's not God's knowledge of future actions that causes my actions. Rather, it's my actions that ground God's knowledge of the future. Here's how.
Yeah, we're not just saying this is where Christians apparently just forget they attribute this mark on the same God that they apparently have a relationship with. You're not just saying, no, we don't, I don't generally care. I'm just going by your base and your logic. You're not just saying God has the foreknowledge, you're saying is an all powerful being who created all things. If we created humans and have the foreknowledge that we are all gonna sin, then He made us is ultimately responsible for the sin that we commit. Because He knew from the beginning that we were going to sin. He made us in the way we are to end up sinning. He put out together everything that's necessary for that shit to happen. He knows exactly what He can change and take out. Like, I don't know, the tree of good and knowledge. I mean, obviously, we will still be ignorant and stupid in the Garden of Eden, but it will be better than suffering in hell. I don't even know. It's like which option will you even go with? Put that in the comments. Isn't that interesting? Which option will you actually go with? Heaven, hell, never any of them to begin with, still in the Guardian of Eden, stupid and dumb? Put it in the comments. Back to the topic. If he actually has the foreknowledge and he created everything, knowing what will happen to it, he's ultimately responsible for it. This is not really hard to get, but once you're trying to make dumb excuses, you're gonna try to find loopholes around the logic that you set up yourself, which is just stupid.
How philosophers put it. While God's foreknowledge is chronologically prior to my actions are logically prior to God's foreknowledge. An analogy might be helpful. God's foreknowledge is like an infallible barometer of the weather. A barometer helps forecast what the weather's going to be like. Now imagine a barometer that never fails. It's always right. But clearly an infallible barometer doesn't cause the weather. Rather, the barometer depends on the weather. The weather determines.
I'm sorry, if the barometer is the one making the weather, if the one that made the entire planet, the universe, then fuck yeah, is the one causing the motherfucking weather. What a dumbass analogy. Like, it's not just predicting the future, it's 100% foreknowledge of the future. Not only that, he made the component necessary for the motherfucking future. So, if the barometer made everything, including the universe and the first apparently cause, that yes, yes, like they just seem to forget about the all powerful and the apparently creating everything attribute that is smack on this one amazing, loving, caring, suicidal maniac they call God. I was already done recording and then I remember something. I got reminded of something. Isn't it interesting how Christians want to have it both ways? They want to have free will, but at the same time say, well, we were chosen by grace from God, meaning we are not the one that freely chooses or choose God, but God chooses us. But they want to at the same time say, well, we chose God. We decide to let go of our sinful ways in a prideful sense, in a sense, being prideful of themselves and like boasting and like, oh my God, I am all that. Which really, you get a lot of that in Christianity. Isn't it interesting how they want to have it both ways? They want to go, oh, God saved me, but I also chose God because I have free will. They just want to have it all. It's so stupid. They just want to have it all. It makes no sense. Anyways, back to the video.
Determines what the barometer forecasts. If the weather were different, then the barometer would have been different. So back to our original question. If I freely choose to eat Fruit Loops for breakfast today, then God will have always known I would choose to eat Fruit Loops for breakfast today. However, if
Yeah, we know. It would ultimately know what your choice will be. So it's if you decide to be like, oh fuck that, I'm gonna put Cheerios, Fruit Loop, cornflakes, put it all mixed together. He knows which one you were gonna choose originally. So it's not a choice that you're making. The ultimate, whatever you ultimately did decide to do, and how you decide to do it, he knows, and he made you, knowing what you will ultimately do. Again, is all responsible, all powerful, all responsible.
I freely chose to eat Cheerios for breakfast instead, then it would have been the case that God would have always known that I would choose Cheerios for breakfast. So here's the takeaway. God's foreknowledge doesn't cause our actions. Instead, our actions ground what God foreknows.
It seems like you're just forgetting the fact that it's not just foreknowledge that God have. It's not just foreknowledge of the future. It's the creator. It's the creator of everything. And he has the foreknowledge of what he's creating will turn out to be. Meaning when he created Hitler, he knew what exactly Hitler would do and decided it was okay and let it happen. When he created each and individual, a billion of us, he knew exactly what would happen, when we would die. It's not just a foreknowledge, he created it. He has the power to even alter it, but he decided not to. It's a choice by God. You don't have free will in the matter. It's already been decided. That's how there could be prophecies. Well, that's all I have for you today. Enough BSing and enough ranting. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day, people.